Hello guys, this is the 96th day of my English speaking and now you can see in this video because my all video you can see how much I am improving day by day because I practice daily of English speaking at least 10 to 15 minutes and through all my videos I try to speak daily on any topic. I don't care about any topic. I only care about to speak in English. And now if I talk about the time, it's 30 past 1 p.m. right now and I am making this video and I am at my room. It's Monday today, but still I am at my room. I went on my work because I already submitted resign, but I am on my notice period. So I went to the customer visit because I am a corporate lawyer right now and I am switching my career to litigation as a litigation lawyer and I have 4 or 5 cases right now in criminal cases and I am just want to explore myself as a litigation lawyer. This is why I am practicing of English speaking because if I want to be a good lawyer, this is the necessary thing to improve your English. Without English, I can't even see myself as the top of, you know, in the top of the lawyers because I don't want to be a kind of lawyer, a kind of average lawyer. If you want to become a good lawyer, you have to argue in English. Without English, you will not stand in good lawyers. This is why I am, upscaling my English and I am from Hindi background genuinely because I am not from the CBSE board, I am from the UP board. So you can see, and I am from the village in UP. And UP, you can, understand if you are from UP, you can understand what I am talking about because in UP colleges and schools, you will not get the exposure of English. You learn English only for, written the exam to getting pass. And if you want to, if I talk about the speaking of English, you can't get this exposure in your schools and colleges as well. And first time if I talk about my learning of English, where and from when I learn English, and at the in my college I start learning of English grammar because in my college when I was pursuing BA LLB, there was a madam name was Chanchal. She taught us English grammar in the good manner, in the a simple easiest, I can say, easiest way. In the easiest way she taught us, and at the first time I understand the English grammar rules, and genuinely I want to share with you, I know the all of the rules. From then I didn't revise even, but in my college time I learn a lot of English grammar rules through my ma'am because if she taught me anything, my duty was to learn and revise again and again and practice over the sentences. Each and every rule I tried on different kinds of sentences, and this is why still I know the grammar rules. I don't care about, I don't even think about the grammar rules because I know the grammar rules and I didn't revise. But because she used to speak in English sometimes, not always, because she knows she was teaching in UP college, so she try to use English speaking while she taught us. But somehow most of the student in our class was from Hindi medium. This is why She was not so strict to speak in English only. She sometimes use Hindi as well. Most of the time Hindi as well, but sometimes she use English only. Okay, and there was another madam, and the subject was economics, and she also used to speak in English, and this helps us a lot to understand the English because she taught us in the easiest way, because my favorite subject was economics, because she make us understand very in the simple way, I can say. The She taught us in the very simple way, I can say. This is why my favorite subject was English economics, and I never you know learn economics with the interest before. I have the economics subject in my 10th standard, but I didn't learn with that kind of interest. And after that, I realized, while I am in my practice since I am in my practice, and I realize English is most important to become a good lawyer, because most of the lawyers argue in English and some argue in Hindi. So weight is of the argument, who wins most of the time, who argue in English before the judge, before the court, I can say. And from then, the perspective of me, per- perspective of mine, and those peoples and those advocates who sit behind the bench, his you know them perspective, like he will going to win because he is arguing in English. And this is how most of the people praise those advocates who speaks and who argue in English. You can imagine, if your opposite counsel is arguing in the same matter in English, and you are arguing in Hindi, and somehow you understand English, but not able to speak in English, but you understand the English, what your opposite counsel saying and arguing. But if you also want to counter his argument, you have to speak in English. Otherwise, I can't say this is the normal thing, because most of the law students and most of the peoples who are surrounding me, and I am surrounding by them, most of the advocates are from Hindi medium. But somehow my senior was from Hindi, not from the Hindi medium. He is so fluent in English, and definitely I would say he is really a good speaker in English. When I see, you know, my senior argument before the court, and I was surprised. Really, I was surprised, because he was speaking without getting any pause in Hindi. In his argument in English. And with us, he usually talk to us in Hindi, but in court, rarely he use Hindi words. Rarely he use. And at that point of time, I was very surprised, and I was like, why I am not, and how can I be achieve that kind of fluency. And when I joined the corporate sector because of money, because I am not making money, enough money, I can say. I am making money, but not enough money. I you know applied in the corporate job, and I was selected. And since then I am making these kinds of video to improve my English, and I am practicing with myself, so that I also want no one can judge me. This is why I am practicing with myself, with my mobile phone, and I am uploading this video continuously so that I can trace my journey. Am I really improving or not day by day? Because somehow I train my mind to think in English, and sometimes I got stuck because of the topics, because of the words, not because of the English lacking. And if I feel sometimes if I have any topic to speak on, I am definitely going to speak on that topic fluently without getting stuck. But somehow sometimes if I narrate any story through my words and through my scenario, in Hindi I can say each and everything about my story, but in English you have to think in a different way to narrate that story, because English is not my first language. This is why I think before speaking. But now a time, some sentences are there I use without even think in English. And somehow I am using English words and English sentences and English phrase in my daily communication, because a short kind of communication with my friends, with my colleagues, with my seniors, with my friends, I use these kinds of sentences like hello, how are you, what are you doing, and some kind of things, where I am, what I am doing, where I am going, where I'm heading, and I'm doing exercise. This kind of words and sentences I use each day with my friends, and I practice with my friends and seniors. I already have shared with you, and this is how I am improving day by day. And also capturing myself, am I really, and I want to know how much time it is I am investing in English speaking, and in how much time I will be able to speak without even think in English. And now I am confident in English speaking, but I need a topic to speak on. Even sometimes I think like I am not till now able to narrate a story in English. I can narrate in my native language, but not in English, because in our native language we think differently. In, if I talk about the English, we think in a kind of different kind of thing to think in English. And yes, it is what it is. And see you later. Bye.